At the end of Descendants 3, did you think you'd gotten your happy ever after, Mal? Being engaged to King Ben and taking down the barrier to the Isle is exciting, but what about your mom?
Scepter!
Now that the villains can roam free and have access to magic, your mommy issues aren't going to get any easier. Maleficent sure is going to be mad that you kept her in lizard form all that time. Are you ready for your showdown? Just imagine the sparks that would fly if Maleficent came back in Descendants 4. What would happen when she came face to face with Hades again? Keep watching to the end to discover what Maleficent would do when it came to a choice between evil and her daughter's happiness. We miss Maleficent in Descendants 2 and 3. Of course, we got a glimpse of her in lizard form, but we wanted to see the human Maleficent in evil action. And we're sure this self-appointed ruler of villains would return if only they would make a fourth installment of the franchise. The question is, how would she make her grand entrance?
Will you be my queen?
No!
Yes! Given that Mal and Ben were engaged in D3, it would make total sense that the next movie would open with their wedding. AKs and VKs would stand in solidarity at this momentous occasion. Hades would walk Mal down the aisle, but her mom wouldn't have been invited. However, that wouldn't stop the most wicked of them all from turning up. Maleficent would crash that wedding. She'd be back in human form and ready to wreak havoc once more. If she managed to get her hands on her scepter again, she could cause some serious trouble. Of course, Mal is officially good, so she would fight her mother to protect the kingdom that she's now the queen of. But Maleficent would remind Mal of her old plans to rule together. Remember the lyrics in their duet in the first film? Mal and Maleficent sang "Evil Like Me" in the museum, and Maleficent sang the words, "This is not for us to ponder. This was preordained. You and I shall rule together, freedom soon regained." Maybe Mal would start questioning her loyalties. We also get a glimpse of Mal's past during this performance. She starts out by telling Mal, "I was once like you, my child, slightly insecure, argued with my mother too, thought I was mature, but I put my heart aside and I used my head." Wouldn't it be fascinating if D4 gave us some of Maleficent's backstory? We'd love to learn about her childhood and her relationship with her mother, and of course, her relationship with Hades. We love meeting Mal's father in D3, but we only got a nugget of information about his relationship with Mal's mother.
No, I left your mother.
She's not the easiest person to get along with.
D4 would have to include all the juicy deets about Maleficent and Hades' love story. How did they get together? What was the final straw that made Hades leave? We would be shown all of this in flashback form. It would be so amazing to see younger versions of Hades and Maleficent, right?
Easy peasy.
In that same scene in D3 where Mal confronts Hades, he tries to claim that they have something in common, hating Maleficent.
No. I don't hate my mother.
But Mal explains that she doesn't hate her mother because at least she's stuck around. So this gives us more reason to think that Mal might be feeling guilty about leaving her mother as a lizard for so long. Would Mal become allies with Maleficent again, or would other characters fill that role? Back when they were imprisoned on the Isle, Maleficent and the Evil Queen were as tight as any backstabbing baddies can be. So these two villains could team up together again now that the barrier is down. Evie is decidedly good, so she would use her powers to try to stop her mom and Mal's mom from ruining their new united land.
You're new here, aren't you? I'm Audrey. Princess Audrey?
But what about Audrey? In D3, Audrey turned as bad as they come. She even used Maleficent's scepter. So Maleficent and the Evil Queen would try to recruit Audrey to their side, and Audrey would recompense for all the trouble she caused last time by acting as a double agent. She'd pretend to go along with Maleficent's evil plans, but she'd be reporting back to Evie and Mal.
I can't believe it. I get to live with you in your very own castle.
We'd love to see Dizzy with a more prominent role in D4, so she could help Audrey as a fellow double agent. Dizzy would also be old enough for a love interest. What about Doug introducing her to one of his cousins? Then Dizzy and Evie would double date. Although Audrey, Dizzy, and Evie would play their part in trying to bring down Maleficent, in the end it would fall to Mal, and the big climax at the end of D4 would be a showdown between Mal and her mom. They would stand eye to eye in another one of those staring contests. But as she stared into Mal's Mal's eyes, Maleficent would see a whole lot of flashbacks of Mal as a baby, and she'd feel a rush of motherly love. Although Maleficent would remain bad, she would allow Mal and her kingdom to live in peace. We don't see Maleficent doing a 180 and picking good over evil, but she would pick Mal over her evil ambitions. And she'd be off, stirring up trouble in another land, far, far away. So that's a wrap on what would happen if Maleficent returned in Descendants 4. How do you think it would play out? Would Maleficent and Mal make up? Could Maleficent and Hades ever get back together? Let us know in the comments. Descendants 4, Mal vs. Maleficent. Be sure to subscribe to The Things for more Descendants videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.